Welcome to episode 7 of Some Me Time podcast. Today's topic, Eric.
Oh, so I know we kind of touched about it on in the last one. So just kind of like how shit's so man-based, which is weird.
Man-based?
Yes. Okay. So so my buddy has how I said before, my buddy has a hyphenated last name, and it's his mom's maiden name, his mom's last name, and then his dad's combined.
Right.
And it's so weird because I noticed this too when I was on the clinical, is that I was talking to one of the patients who was recently married, and he said that if his wife didn't take his last name, that's something that would be kind of offensive and very off-putting and something that he just wouldn't be cool with. Mm-hmm. It made me think of how weird it is how women are just expected to take the guy's last name.
Well, go ahead.
And I don't know, just I kind of just brought in this whole idea of how everything is so manly based. Whereas if the guy were to take the woman's last name, it would be it would be a shitstorm. And even if you don't, even if you hyphenate, it's still oh, well, why aren't you just taking their last name? Mm-hmm. And it's just weird. How have you ever seen a guy take his wife's last name when they get married?
I have never seen that. No, but I do fall on the side of when I'm getting married, my wife. I want her to take my last name.
Why?
She will take my last name.
Why?
Because when I've had this discussion, because when I'm asking you to marry me,
mm-hmm.
I'm asking you into my family.
Okay, but why can't you join her family?
I am, but I want her to be a member of my family,
mm-hmm.
and I want her to take my family name so that we could be closer together.
So you wouldn't be as close if she stayed with her last name?
Honestly, it would be off-putting for me.
Why? Just because she wouldn't do one little thing take a last name, you would be very off-put and be
well, it wouldn't ruin the relationship, but
why wouldn't you take her last name?
Upset.
Why wouldn't you join her family and take her last name so you could be part of that, closer to that side?
Because I asked her to marry me.
So if she were to ask you, I'll keep names out. So if she were to ask you, would you have taken her last name?
I wouldn't have said yes.
Why?
Because that's not her role.
Who says?
Me.
Says, who are you to grandstand?
Well, that's the way I like the relationship. I don't know the history of it, but when we go out to eat,
mm-hmm.
I find it I'm trying to say, I was going to say gentlemanly, but I'm trying to keep that out. I find it I like to assume the responsibility of paying for meals because I like doing nice things for her and I know she likes them. So based on...
But why can't she pay and do nice things for you?
She does sometimes,
okay.
And it's great. But the way it's set up, man, I don't know. Is
why?
I ask the question, do you want to marry me?
Mm-hmm.
And when she says yes, that statement of yes comes along with her accepting my last name.
Why? So if she were to say either I want to hyphenate or I just want to keep my last name, you don't think that you would be as close, and you would think that based off what you said, she would be less a part of your...
She did want to hyphenate.
What?
She did want to hyphenate.
So she would be less a part of your family if she would have hyphenated.
I wouldn't marry her if she wanted to hyphenate.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why? That's so regressive.
Dude, no it's not.
Yes, it is.
It has nothing to do with... Why is that regressive?
Because you're saying that you would love her less and not marry her.
I'm not saying I would love her less.
Okay,
I said it
would
cause a strain on the relationship.
Why?
Because when I ask her to marry me,
mm-hmm.
that comes along with taking my last name.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
That's your own objective.
She knows that.
That's your subjective thing that you're saying, you're going to marry me, so you're just naturally going to take my last name.
Yes.
Why?
Because the way the relationship works
mm-hmm.
is I like treating her to things.
Okay.
I like taking her out. Treating her nice and being a good person to her, and she does that to me as well.
Right. So it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street.
Except for this, it's a one-way street, my way or the highway.
You said, I just felt like I was in an interrogation room. Except for this one, it's my way or the highway.
I mean,
I've been watching a lot of Law and Order recently.
You wouldn't marry her if she wanted to hyphenate.
I would not. No.
Why?
She knows that too.
Why?
Because, Ches, because it's I feel really strongly about keeping my last name, and luckily she doesn't feel that amount of strength. So based on that...
Okay, but her taking your last name or hyphenating wouldn't change your last name.
Yes,
She
it
would.
would.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would.
Her hyphenating would change your last name.
Oh, I don't have to hyphenate?
No, that's.
I don't think that. I don't. Is that how it works?
Yeah, you don't hyphenate, just they do.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
100% positive. I mean, obviously it varies case by case, but traditionally you wouldn't hyphenate.
Dude, if that's true, that is some new information.
Yeah, I
for
don't
me.
think it's a by hyphenation thing.
I'm gonna look
I mean,
it up.
obviously it varies person to person, but I just don't see the rationale of saying like I wouldn't marry you if you were to hyphenate. Like, why are you so strongly attached to your last name?
Well, I didn't like present it in that way.
Okay, but
and for people who don't know me, I just got engaged, so this is a hot topic. But I didn't say like you're taking my last name, and if you don't, this relationship ceases to exist.
Okay, but you're saying now that if she wouldn't,
Hyphenate?
or if she would hyphenate or not take your last name, you wouldn't marry her.
That's correct.
But okay, but then you're not making the marriage about love. You're making the marriage about something else.
No,
because if you truly loved her, it wouldn't matter.
You're spinning it, man.
No, I'm not.
Yes, it is.
How am I spinning this,
dude? I could. That has nothing to do with the fact how much I love her. It has nothing to do with that.
Okay, but marriage is about
She
love
could
and
change
joining.
her first name to Tutopoulos, and I wouldn't care if she was like really strong about that. But she would be Tutopoulos Sagan.
But why? Okay, but what if she was as strong about changing her first name as about not changing her last name?
What if she felt as strong? So you're saying what if she felt that strong about?
Yeah, so you said she could change her first name to something completely ridiculous if she felt strongly enough about it. You wouldn't care. But what if she felt that strongly about changing her first name as she did about changing her first name, which you said you wouldn't care about, is about not changing her last name and maintaining her last name?
Well, then we would have crossed that bridge in 7 years of dating, which we have many times.
Okay, but
and I voiced to her how important it was that she took my last name.
But why? Is what I want to know. Like,
because I say it again, because when you invite someone to when you ask someone to marry you, the way I view it is you're inviting them to become a part of your family.
Okay, but that's a one-way thing. I mean, so you're saying
you're going back to like taking the father's name and like it goes back. It's like a traditional thing.
Okay, but
I don't know where the tradition spawns from.
There's so many other traditions that slavery was a tradition. We got rid of that. Like, why?
But this isn't like discriminating against her.
I mean, it kind of is discriminating against her choice. You said you wouldn't marry her if she didn't take your last name. That's discriminating against her personal choice to be as freely named. And you just said her first name wouldn't matter, but just her last name would.
But you can't discriminate against one person. Isn't discrimination? Give me an example.
If I say I'm not going to let you into my house because I don't want you in my house, that's technically discriminating against you.
But like, why? Why don't you want me in your house?
Because I feel strongly about it. I don't want you in my house.
But what's your reason?
If I'm going to invite you into my house, if I want you in my house, I'll invite you.
Why can't I come in? Why not?
It's the same reason. If I don't want you in my house, I'm not going to let you in.
But you're not giving me a reason.
Yeah, I don't want you in my house.
That's your reason?
Yeah.
Because you just don't want me.
Traditionally, I've never allowed people wearing short starter socks into my house.
But now you're discriminating against people with short... Did you say short socks?
Yeah.
But that's a group of people now.
No, it's just you.
Plenty of people wear short socks.
Okay.
Would you let this guy in over
here?
Okay,
people who wear glasses named Max Sagan, I don't like them in my house.
But that's not a group of people.
Right, exactly. That's one person I'm basing it off of. It's just the whole idea of being like, I wouldn't marry you because you wouldn't take my last name is so superficial. Marriage is about like love and coming together as one. And
coming from Mr. No Marriage over here.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't want to get married at all. I think it's a super regressive idea of like, you have to take my last name. Who the fuck cares? It's the last name.
But that's the reason you don't want to get married?
No, I just don't want to get married because I don't think that getting married to someone means you love them any more or any less.
I agree.
50% of marriages end in divorce.
Dude,
so you
I
can't
agree.
say that marriage itself means you love someone.
No, I'm on your team there, man.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I view it is like, it's just
okay. So you said that because you asked her to marry you,
yes,
she should take your last name and become a part of your family.
Yes.
But you said if she were to ask you to marry her, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So that's completely negating her ability to do any of that stuff because you wouldn't do it because...
Dude, I'm not saying my way is the right way or the only way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that's how we've talked about it and that's how our relationship goes. With like a gay or lesbian couple, it's probably very different. I don't know how that works.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who takes whose name. I have no idea. So it's just like in our culture...
But it's not even like we talked about it because you essentially said... if you don't take my name, I won't marry you.
But I never said no. That's so
those
harsh.
were your just words that you just said.
But
If
I
she
never said
wouldn't-
that to her.
Okay, so then you're either leaving out some big information here. So what if she were to say, "No, I'm either going to hyphenate or I don't want to take your last name." Would you say, "Well, then I'm not going to marry you"?
Yes.
And okay, so would you break up with her then, or what would you do? Would you just live in limbo?
If she said that, it's such a hypothetical
Right.
situation because we've been dating for so long. And I feel like if you were dating for 7 years and never had that conversation, then
Okay, but
there's
like
probably
hypothetically
bigger
speaking.
issues.
Okay, but say, let's go like alternate universe. Literally everything is the same.
Okay.
Like it's essentially like it's a thought experiment.
Okay.
So your relationship is exactly the same. The only difference is she doesn't want to take your last name.
That would be a huge problem.
Why? Just because you have like this claim on I want my last name. What if she wanted her last name?
She does, and I'll tell you what our solution was. But or do you want to live in the alternate universe for a second?
All right, let's go let's go alternate universe. So say like if everything is exactly the same with your relationship, she just doesn't want your last name. Do you end the relationship or do you just what do you do?
I would explain to her why I felt so strongly about it.
And what if her rationale for her keeping her last name was the same as yours?
Well, what is her rationale?
Okay. Why do you feel so strongly? Because you're asking her to come into your family.
Because this whole relationship has been geared off of
your male dominance viewpoint. Yes, that's 100%
Stop
what
putting words in my mouth.
No, that's 100% what it is. Because
No.
you said the tradition is the man asks the woman to marry her.
Do you want to hear my rationale?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say we are equals in this partnership.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout this relationship, I have strived to take leadership in certain areas. And those areas are treating you nicely, treating you with respect, and those things entail taking you out to dinner, buying you things you care about. So because I have taken that role,
So
quote unquote leadership role, when I ask you to marry me, I expect you, and it's very important that you take my family name.
but what do you
and
mean
it's
by
very
leadership? What do you
important
mean
to
by
me that you
leadership
take
role?
that name.
what do you mean by leadership role? Does she not take you out? Does she not buy you nice things? Does she not treat you with respect?
No, sure she does.
So then how do you say I take the leadership role in that?
I do it more.
Are you're really going to say that you treat her better than she treats you?
No,
No, because you're saying
Not at all.
because you're saying I take the leadership role by treating her nicely and doing nice things for her and all
Yes.
these things.
I do those things more than she does them for me.
Okay. But that one role of what you're saying, does that outweigh the other leadership roles that she takes?
No.
So then why
Well, like what though?
I don't know your relationship,
Like,
but
for
you're
example, like making me things, or like cooking me a nice meal, or just things that
Okay,
are,
so you're gonna say that you-
are just nice gestures.
Okay, see, but you're going to place a higher hierarchy than on the nice things that you just said you did, and you're going to like, oh well, I buy her nice things, but then you said like, well, she does nice gestures, so that you're almost
Hunter gatherer, baby.
so you're
I'm just kidding.
So you're almost putting your buying her things have an inherent higher intrinsic value than her doing nice gestures.
Here's the real
for you.
reason. Here's the real reason why I want her to take my last name,
Mm-hmm.
and that I would never think twice about it. But because we're dissecting it,
Yeah.
we're talking. Just because that's all I've ever known, and I don't know the root of it, and that's just how my dad did it, and how his dad did it, and how my mom and everyone in my family has
Slavery.
just taken names.
It's
a tradition in both of our families.
And-
That's the only reason I need.
Okay, but there's other traditions that are just as bad. There's traditions in like religions of genital mutilation and honor killings.
Not in my
but,
religion
Okay, but yes, there is.
of mutilations.
Yes, 100%.
Really?
Yes, that's within all religions. And just saying that it's a tradition is so it doesn't have any moral basis to stand on.
But sure it does.
Why?
Because I like the way it makes me feel.
That's so.
So I put up a Christmas tree every year because I'm used to it. I've done it since I've been born, and I like the sight of it, and I like the way it
that's
smells.
a tradition.
Yeah.
But there's no moral, there's no basis. Because what if she were to say, well, it's a tradition in my family that that the guy takes the woman's name?
Then I would have ended our relationship a long time ago.
But what if? Okay, but what if you never talked about it until?
But I can't even, dude. Like, I'll answer that question, but it's so far fetched.
Mm-hmm. See, but you're saying that you're coming from like, well, it's your tradition, but that's I could say like, well, I have a tradition of like, anything, and it doesn't give it like an objective inherent value.
I'm gonna be fucking single by the end of this podcast.
100%. Yeah, so you're just coming at this from like a completely male-based viewpoint of, well, the males, it's always been the woman that have taken the male's name. I see no logical rationale why
I'm gonna write down
why the woman should have to take the male's name, and I think that to say that you wouldn't marry someone because of that is so illogical and irrational and just dumb.
Well, I'll tell you our solution. We talked about it many times, explained to her why it's so important to me. And she said, after talking about it, like, okay, I respect that, but I feel bad about losing my last name. The last name's going to die out with me.
Yeah.
So she said, would you mind if I took, she doesn't have a middle name, if I took my last name as my middle name? And I said, sure, that's completely fine.
To me, I think that that's kind of a crappy compromise, to be honest. Because if you have kids, her last name is still dead with her.
Yeah, dude, it doesn't bother me, and it doesn't bother her.
But you said that she wants to keep her last name, and you said, I will, as you just verbalized, you would not marry her if she didn't do that. And you're essentially placing your
I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just saying
okay, but why not be fair?
Because we both agree on it. So it doesn't
sound like it was a very equal.
It's a non-issue.
Because I mean, if she said, "Well, I don't want to lose my last name," what if she like just refused to think?
Well,
like,
I told her I feel a lot more strongly about it than she does, so she respects that.
See, I don't agree with that at all. I think. Just like speaking like generally, I don't think that the woman should ever have to take on the man's last name.
Dude, I do plenty of shit that I don't necessarily want to do, but I do it.
Okay.
For her, so
but it just becomes like this circular logic, like you said, like
it's like
I take on these male roles and she does these female things, so I asked her to marry me, and then she should do it because she's coming into my family. But likewise, you're also joining her family, which is what a marriage is. You become unison in one.
You do, but according to just marital traditions, man, that's just what it is.
Polygamy used to be marital tradition.
Sure.
And auctioning off daughters for cows used to be marital tradition.
I accept those as traditions, but I don't practice them.
So, okay, but why do you practice this one? Because you like your last name.
Because it's just in my family. I grew up with it.
But that's not a good rationale.
Why?
Because there's no rationale for it besides it's your tradition. There's been plenty of other traditions that people have broken through.
But we don't have a want to break through it.
Like, I mean, not to like specifically pick out you, but like in general, like when he was like, I wouldn't marry her if she didn't take my last name. I'm like, that's so stupid. Like, I honestly think that is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Dude, we've talked about it. It's like,
okay, but you're taking like we're gonna switch off personally and just go generally speaking to say you wouldn't marry someone because they wouldn't take your last name. That's almost putting a condition on marriage, which marriage should just be, I love you. I want us in theory to be one in the eyes of God.
But here we go. But you're against marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you specifying?
Well, okay, I'm not against no, I'm not against marriage.
Would you ever get married?
Marriage is one I'm more willing to flop, a kind of like
compromise.
Yeah. I mean, not compromise, but it's like I don't think marriage is a necessity. I think it's like an archaic tradition because one, it's essentially becoming one in the eyes of God. I don't think God gives a shit. I don't think God is real anyway. Like a religious God. But like to me, it's just an archaic idea where like I don't see the purpose of getting married. I think that I could live with someone for the rest of my life and be just as happy and love them just as much without saying we're married.
So I accept that idea that you have, and I have like things to say about it. But I'm not.
Hold
on. No, I will. But I have things to say about it. But I accept that, and I'm not gonna. But I'm not gonna tell you how to change it.
See, but my rationale here is not based on tradition.
But you just said you don't necessarily agree with marriage, and you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But you are telling me how to do it.
I mean, I'm not trying. Okay, yeah, but I'm not saying like I have this objective truth. It's just a belief I have.
Yeah.
Where, like if a girl said like, well, I want to get married, I'd be like, I don't believe in marriage. But like I wouldn't get married in a church. I think that's stupid. I would rather have like a small ceremony of like people there that I care about.
For sure.
But like I don't know, to me, like, it's not a deal breaker, whereas, like, taking a last name that's based on tradition.
Okay.
Like, if you were, like, if someone were to say, like, you know, like, I think if I were to marry you, like, I just like the symbolism of it, of, like, becoming one together. I'm like, all right, whatever, I don't
What
care.
if you met a girl and you were dating for a long time and you wanted to spend the rest of your life with her and
Yeah.
you guys were on the same page of, like, we don't want to get married. We can just be together
Right.
and have this wonderful relationship. What if
I
she...
will actually qualify that I would get a marriage license because there are undeniable benefits of being like legally married. And I mean, that's not even like from like the love standpoint. It's like you can have them on your insurance.
You can't have
and
it both ways. All right, hold on. I want to stay focused here.
Okay, yeah.
But I have a lot to say about that.
Okay.
So you're with the girl for many years. Let's just put yourself in the same position I'm in. 7 years. You guys are on the same page with everything. You love each other. You want to spend the rest of your life. She knows you both don't want to get married. But she's like, Dr. Ches. She's like, Eric, I am just so in love with you that I want to feel closer to you. And I want to take your last name. I want to change my name.
Yeah, go ahead. Because she wants to. I don't
my
care.
last name.
Yeah, I don't care.
So how is that different from me asking her to change her last name?
Because you weren't willing to compromise. You said if she wouldn't take it, I wouldn't marry her. Whereas if I was with someone who was like, you know, I just want to take your last name, I wouldn't care. Take it, don't take it, hyphenate it. I don't care. It's a name.
But she's... All right.
And I mean, again, not just like pointing out, like, just like you are kind of got like attacked on. I'll admit that. But I mean, I meant more in like the generality speaking.
Yeah.
I was using you as like the specific for the generality.
I know.
But I mean, like, to me, that's like a whole different ideology behind it.
It's just like, I think you're putting too much significance on like one small aspect of a relationship. And
it's not even like that. It's just the fact that he said I wouldn't marry her because she wouldn't change her name. To me,
it would be a deal breaker. I'm sorry, like that's just being honest.
That seems so petty.
It'd be a deal breaker. Like, okay, here's the thing, man, and I'm not gonna try to like single you out, but like, I've been in a relationship for 7 years.
Yeah,
that's a long ass time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we've been through like a ridiculous amount of things, right? So I've compromised to the things I didn't want to do, but we've talked about it. Sometimes I hold my ground. Sometimes I'll compromise because it's right.
Right.
This is just another one of those things that we talked about. Dude, we settled this in a 10-minute discussion.
Yeah.
This is like we are making like a 10-minute discussion into an hour podcast.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want it to be like specifically on you, but just like the general comment.
Yeah, I'll play the person because there's a lot of people talk about this.
I guess it's different too because it's like, why won't you take my last name? And if the girl's like, I don't want to, but I don't really care enough. Whereas with this, it seemed more like how you verbalized that she wanted to keep the last name.
She like
because she doesn't want it to die.
As soon as she heard how important it was to me for the reasons I laid out earlier, she was like, okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think your reasons are kind of dumb, but I'll just
100%.
Not dumb. I don't agree with.
What reasons? Which ones?
The fact that it's the fact that it's a tradition. I don't place much weight on traditions.
But that you don't. I do.
But I deal with like objectives, and instead of just like, well.
But dude, it's like like some people, it's a tradition to
that could be so easily
say grace at dinner.
But that could be so
put up a Christmas tree, to hide Easter eggs.
But again, I think that could be so easily flipped.
To hug your mom goodbye in the morning.
But that could be so easily flipped into making that like a subjective thing for someone else. So like I was talking to someone about how I like don't go to church or anything like that, and she was like, so. If, say, like, you got married and your wife wanted you to go to church with her on Christmas, would you go? And I would say no. And she was like, well, what if it was, like, her family tradition that in the morning everyone wakes up and goes to Mass? No, that's your tradition. It's not mine. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Christmas. I don't think that I should, like, me paying lip service offers nothing at all. I could be in church and literally just, like, looking at the ceiling. And I think that's much worse than me not going.
For sure.
And that's one idea where the two traditions can clash and don't really. It's essentially you're placing a higher value, more value on your tradition than someone else's, which can go back and forth.
So let's say she's like really religious, and for some reason you still want to be with her.
I can't phrase that. For some reason, you still
you devil child still want to be with her.
Yeah.
But what if so like you're like, yeah, I won't go to church, but you're like in the medical field, right? You're a physical therapist, and and she like has an injury on her hamstring, and you're like, you should stretch it, like it'll make it feel better.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I don't believe in stretching.
You're like, well, you're dumb. Okay, I wouldn't say you're dumb. I'd be like, well, that's just kind of counterintuitive to everything we know. But I mean, I can't make you do anything.
But she could come at you with the same thing. Like, why think you not going to church is dumb?
Okay, I can do what I want. If she doesn't want to stretch, she doesn't have to stretch.
But I'm just trying to say, like, I think when you're in a relationship, there's just like a tremendous amount of compromising.
Right, but I think, and like I said, like if it was a compromise, like, oh well, I think it was the difference between either one, I want to keep my name, or I just don't want to take yours. Kind of like if you have like you'd be like, oh, like I don't want to take your name, I just want to keep mine, like whatever, I don't see the point in it. And if you were like, well, you know, it means a lot, like how you said, like it means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. I could, like, is different than, say, if I were to get married to someone and be like, no, I really want to keep my last name, it's important to me. Because by someone saying, because like if someone were to be like, well, it means a lot to me to keep my last name, and I were to say, well, it means a lot to me that you take my last name, you're essentially at a high ground there.
Well, all right, I'd like to read something.
Because like my last name dies with me too. So like if a girl was like, I want you to take my last name. Ooh, actually, that's a good idea.
What?
I'm trying to think if I would take a girl's last name. I mean, I don't want to get married. See, but it's so hard.
Okay, yeah. So let's let me put you in the hot seat. So you're with a girl, 7 years. You guys are so compatible, and she knows you don't want to get married or anything, and she goes, Dr. Eric, we're just so close, but I think we would be even closer if you changed your last name to my last name.
But why? That's what I would say.
I would say it would completely show me your love and commitment to me.
So if I don't take your last name, I don't love you?
No, I know you love me, but it would mean the world to me. It would make me so happy if you would take my last name. It wouldn't be a deal breaker, and I would still love you, but you would make me so happy. And I feel like it would elevate our relationship to the next level.
I don't know, actually. I've actually never thought about it. That's a good idea. I mean, logically, I would have to say yes. I think I'd be more apropos to, like, hyphenate, to be honest. Because, I mean, that way you're still... Fuck, my last name's so long, though. Like, you can't hyphenate it always.
Let's say it was, like, a cool-ass last name, too. Like, Eric... I don't know.
Or, what about this? You combine them.
Just, like, create a whole...
Just like combine them.
Frankenstein
to make like name. So be like Sarich or Bagan.
Or Andrax. Well, that's our first name.
Yeah, that's your first name.
Andrax.
No, but just, I mean, I think that'd be kind of cool, actually. I think that would be like the perfect idea. I'd be like, let's just combine the two.
That's a cool idea, but it's like...
So like the last girl I had a thing with, it could be like Larsowski.
I mean, that's... But then her name goes first.
I don't care. I mean, whatever.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't really... I mean, I don't know.
It's not a bad idea, man. It's just... It's not like something that I put a ton of thought into, to be honest. It's just like something that I knew was gonna be done. Like, it's just everyone in both of our families. It's always been that way, and I'm not saying like that makes it right.
Why not be different?
That I'm not saying that makes it right. I'm just saying like you have an idea in your head for a long time, and you just kind of expect it to happen. And it's not like
but that's where you and I differ. I don't stay true to any ideas. I'm very open to anything.
Well,
not that you're not open.
I would say I am too.
Yeah, no, you are. But I mean, I'm just saying like if I had like an idea, I feel like I'm just like I don't care. I'm apropos to change it.
All right, I'm kind of doing some research here. Last names, as we know them now, originated from Middle Ages, from people's occupations, where they lived, their father's first name, or even their appearance or disposition. Doesn't really. I kind of want to search.
Well, but like I think that taking the last name just comes because it used to be a very male-dominated society. So, like, the father would essentially
probably
sell the daughter for, like, a dowry, which would be, like, so say, like, if you give me, like, 800 gold coins and 2 cows, you can have my daughter as a wife. And then from then, it's just like, okay, well, since it was, back then, it was based more on, like, a possession thing. So it's like, yes, you're my wife, but I own you. So you will take my last name.
Yeah, I bet you're right about that. Okay, I'm doing some research here. This was common practice until the 1970s, and even then, purists insisted upon it. This was because it was assumed that the husband would buy or build the house and the wife would come and live in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one. So back in the day, based on probably,
Classical male roles, like we talked about.
which is not, I don't really have a problem with the man.
Oh, you sexist pig! How dare you? How dare you?
In the old days, the man would build the house,
Mm-hmm.
like physically build it, and the woman would come live there with him.
Okay, but here's the thing. We don't live in the old days. We live in the now.
We don't.
It's
but
like the same thing of like how people are like, I mean, it's kind of like, I think it still holds true, how people are like strict constitutionalists. It's like we don't live in 1776 anymore. Like even if you want to go to like religion, we don't live in the year.
But we
like,
still have plenty of traditions from back then.
I mean, we've gotten rid of the bad ones. And I mean, I won't say that this is a bad one, but I think that it just has like odd,
I think it's
like male show, like not male chauvinist, but like male, not, I don't want to say like oppressive, but it's just like a very male dominant tradition. And I don't think that it's that big of a deal to like, I mean, I don't know, like I wouldn't, it would definitely be weird. It'd definitely be kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird that, like just if I were to take like a female's last name, I think it would be like weird, but I mean, I don't.
It's unusual, but
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to like
See,
doing
I'm just-
like unusual things out of the norm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would take it just because I wouldn't want my wife to take it. Like, I wouldn't make her, and I think that to be
But
like.
it's really important to her.
But I see, but then just like I mean, I can't say it's important to me, but I don't think that holds any. To me, that doesn't hold any objective.
So why would you do it?
Because it doesn't hold any objective truth. Like the fact it can mean a lot to you, but I could say that like you dyeing your hair blonde would mean a lot to me. It doesn't make. Just because it means a lot doesn't mean it actually holds any value.
But we're not in a relationship.
What do you mean?
Like you're saying.
No, I'm saying like hypothetically, like if I'm in your situation, and be like, well, it would mean a lot to me if you took my last name. Like I would be like, why? Like I don't see. I think that's getting. I think that's getting so caught up in like this like superficial like physical idea instead of like the deeper, like if whether or not I take a last name doesn't mean anything in terms of like your love, your commitment.
Right. So
it's all in like the action.
But
I guess that's an action.
That's how she feels too, though. It
Right.
doesn't affect the way she feels about me taking my last name.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to her. But I feel strongly about it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't know. I don't see like the purpose of it.
I think if it's like it's a loving thing, like it's gonna make me feel closer to her, and it's gonna make her feel closer to me.
Okay, but hypothetically, what if she felt just as so? How strongly you feel about keeping your last name or her taking yours? What if she felt that strongly about keeping hers or wanting to hyphenate?
Then we would have a long discussion, and we would talk about.
But do you honestly think that just because she wouldn't do that, you wouldn't want to marry her?
Probably not.
See?
I mean, I said that earlier, but if push comes to shove,
Because I mean, deep down, it doesn't like these physical things don't matter. It's the heart of it all, of like whether or not you really love someone. I mean, yeah, it can mean a lot to you, but I mean, so you said like, oh well, she compromised and said she would take my last name, but you could also just as easily compromise and not put that on her. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's a very subjective two-way thing.
It is, and I probably see the
You're
reason,
welcome, Dre.
The reason I probably came off so strong earlier of I wouldn't marry her if she didn't take it is because it's just like it's so hard for me to convey to you that like it's such a hypothetical situation because like in the span of 7 years, like it's just like a speck of like what the relationship is made up out of.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, and we've talked about it like plenty of times. And dude, Andrea's a feminist, like full out feminist. Like she totally believes in equal rights for men and women.
Dumb.
Joke.
Dude, when do I ever make appropriate jokes?
It's like, jeez. But she like is like a feminist.
Yeah.
For sure. So she like, but even as a feminist, like she heard me out why it's so important.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, yeah, like again, like I came off like very attack, and I think it was also
dude.
not to place blame, but like how it was initially phrased out.
Yeah.
Seemed like she cared very deeply about keeping her last
you're
name.
Victim blaming.
Well, no, it just seemed like she, like you said, she really wanted to keep her last name because she didn't want to see it die. And I'm like, well, I feel like you could be like, dude, I'm telling you, just make it.
She did, but like my reasoning of why I want her to take it outweighed why her wanting to keep her last name. Like if it was truly that important to her, I think she would have fought harder for it rather than being like, you know what, if it means that much, if it really means that much to you, like I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I'll take your last name.
Yeah, I just think that like the whole ideology behind it is just so, just archaic.
I want to finish this paragraph.
Okay.
This was because it was assumed, and we're talking about the origin of taking the male last name. This was because it was assumed the husband would buy or build the house, and his wife would come live in it. So his last name was the name of the house. With royalty, quotes, house became a lot bigger and involved several houses. With commoners, the last name was often the trade or profession of the husband and some sort of weird son of thing. So Prince Charles, if he had a last name, would be Tudor because of the privileges of being royalty is that you don't have to use your last name. That didn't make a lot of sense to me.
But just like that, it's just so male dominated.
It is,
and it's
but
and it's like if you look at the traditions, the tradition itself is like a male dominated tradition, and like he said, just like I wouldn't take her last name. Like if she would have taken my last name, that would be a deal breaker. I'm like, that doesn't make sense because you're making like this idea of marriage being purely about love superficial and based on something as minute as taking the last name.
But dude, even though I retracted that statement, I could still say it's based off love because it is.
What's based off love?
Her changing her name. It's not minute because that her changing her name, my reasoning and rationale is based in love.
But again, her reasoning of not wanting could be based in love too, and like I don't want to say allowing, but you accepting her not wanting to change her last name could also be based in love.
Yeah, and she gets to keep her last name.
No, she doesn't. She gets
she
gets a middle name.
Yeah, she's gonna have that for the rest of her life.
Okay, so what if she said that, I know that I took your last name of Sagan, but I still want to see like my last name live on. What do you think about hyphenating? The kid's last name, not yours or hers.
I would say I don't want to do that.
Why? Because I mean, technically, your last name still goes, but it's also like.
I don't want to do that because if we hyphenate, I feel as though it's causing it's a separation between our holy matrimony.
Are you just like devil's advocating, or is that what you actually say?
No, that's what I would actually say.
Actually believe? Just because like the last name's hyphenated, like because you said that you want to keep yours.
Now we're no longer one entity of love. We're no longer the Sagan family. We are two things, and I think a small thing like that might be a crack that would turn into a giant crack.
But that just seems so. I don't know.
Dude, I'm not saying my opinion is correct.
No, I know. It just seems so.
Dude, that's what it is, man. That's what I was trying to say. I feel like I just had a light bulb. That's what it is, man. You're solidifying one name of love.
But you're subjectively choosing yours is more important than hers, based on male-based traditions. And again, I know you feel strongly, and she doesn't feel that strong about keeping hers. But like if you you could just as easily say, let's just make a new name in general.
Yeah, but why? Why do that?
Because if you want to say, oh well, marriage is us coming together as one holy matrimony, it wouldn't be her taking yours. In theory, it would be you take the two last names and combine them into one. Because if you think like marriage is two people becoming one, take the last name, two last names, and make it one.
You're right, but
yes, I see a good new last name coming out of this.
Saganator, Saganich. If she felt that way, that would be a discussion we would have. But
is that something you'd be up to?
Dude, if she felt really strongly about it, yeah, it'd be something I would entertain.
So it'd be like she takes yours, combo name, hyphenated, or she keeps hers.
Yeah. If you had to go.
So now you're putting her last.
Tiers.
So now you're putting her last. What you're saying?
Fuck off.
That's essentially what it comes down to. See, that's why you just don't get married. You never have these problems.
Well, it's not even a problem.
Oh, you wanted to talk about me getting legally married, but not church married.
Yeah.
You wanted to point some holes in me. I'm open for it.
All right. So, after bragging on marriage, you said I might get legally married.
Yes.
But not
like in a church, like ceremony married.
Okay.
Like the traditional marriage.
The problem you have is with the religious aspect of marriage.
No. So I would get a marriage license like from a courthouse because there are benefits that come from being married in the eyes of the law. Like you can have someone on your insurance if something happens with like say if you're in like a union job and you have like work benefits or pension and you're married, your wife can get that. However, if you're not married, they lose all access to those benefits.
Okay, I get that. So then what name specific specifically what you don't like about a traditional marriage ceremony.
I think it's stupid. It's essentially like how I said before, it's such like a superficial thing.
Specifically.
It's a superficial ceremony that has essentially no actual bearing on whether or not you love someone.
Well, what if the two people are really religious and they believe in God and they believe that when the priest says, "I now pronounce you man and wife," and all that, the whole thing he says, they feel spiritually closer together.
Okay, but what if they get divorced and then they can never get married in the church again?
You can get married in the church again.
Not if you get
you
divorced.
get divorced?
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally can. My mom got divorced and she got married. Got married in church.
Are you? Because that's pretty. That might be.
You have to like go through a class.
Exactly.
But you can get married in the church again.
Yeah, but you have to go through of like why something was bad before. I just don't like it. To me, it's such like a superficial thing.
Well, I think it's because you're non-religious.
I don't think that's it. I mean, I don't know. It's weird, and I'm aware that I have like certain biases and preferences. Like, to me, like I would never get married in a church. I couldn't get married in a church because I believe to get married in a church you have to like be that religion, don't you? I know like if you're Jewish you have to convert. I'm pretty sure to be married in a Catholic church you have to be.
I actually don't know. Well, I'm getting married in a Serbian Orthodox church, and I'm not Serbian Orthodox. I don't have to do any special qualifications.
Oh, because I know because one of my friends is getting married in a church and they have to go to like a class and meet with the priest a few times, and I just don't.
In Catholicism, I think you have to go through something called pre-Cana.
Yeah, something like that. And to me, that's just dumb. Like,
so going back to specifically what you don't like about traditional marriage ceremony.
Yeah,
it's superficial because
I don't think it means anything.
But dude, that has everything to do with religion, I think.
Yeah, but okay, I mean that's a whole other rabbit hole. But I just don't.
So why not just say I don't want to get married in a church because I'm non-religious?
Because that's not why. It's because I don't think that going through a marriage ceremony means anything. To me, it doesn't mean you love someone more. And if you say, "Oh yeah, well I love them more that since I get married," to me that's not. I don't want to say it's not real love, but your love is unconditional, and you're saying I got married to you, so I love you more. So that's putting a condition on the love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I don't know, because like on the other hand, like if say, like she was like, "Oh, I really want to get married," I would be like, "Okay, well, one, it's not gonna be in a church." I shouldn't say I would say, but like
I would tell her exactly what we're gonna be doing.
Yeah, dude, freaking males run the world.
As the male role.
Yeah, dude, males run the world. Females should stay in the kitchen. Obviously joking. Can't say that anymore. But no, but like okay, I wouldn't get married in church because that's just I can't.
So,
but like
because it's superficial. That's what we're gonna say.
No, I just don't. I mean, okay, not getting married in a church.
Dude, take religion out of it.
Not getting married in a church would be. Okay, see, but if you take religion out of it, I don't think it becomes a marriage. To me, it becomes just like a
contract,
like a ceremony of like. I would be fine with something like celebrating your love, like something like that. Just like not saying that
with people.
Yeah. So say like.
So dude.
So like so often people will be like, "Oh, we got married, so we could like be more in love with each other," or some bullshit like that. I don't think like to me that's idiotic. That puts a condition on love. But if she were to be like, "I want to get married to you," I'd be like, "Okay, one, I don't want to get married." Like I will say like I will gladly have a ceremony like celebrating our love, but I won't get married. To me, like I don't see the purpose of it, because like marriage has this like I feel like when people get married, they have this connotation of like it makes you love someone more, and I don't think that that's true. Whereas I were to say like something
I could get
like
on board with that,
like a celebration of love, I think that would be like, you know, I love you. Like this doesn't change anything. I just want everyone here to kind of like celebrate and like our love.
So you would just have sort of a like rent out a banquet hall.
Not even that. I would just want something like maybe
or like a house party, whatever.
No, I'm not. Come on, dude. I'm a little bit clashy than a house party here. You know, maybe go to like Lake Michigan or something like that, like on the beach of just like see like someone like a good friend like you or someone like that saw me through like the whole thing. Like, you know, like they were there like when I first started going out with them, and then someone who could speak very accurately to, I guess not even like a pastor like administering it, but say like you is one of my friends, like and then like
facilitator. Yeah,
and then like one of her friends who could just speak accurate. So like it's like a 2-person thing here, like just speaking on the love and kind of celebrating it.
You're describing a wedding ceremony without the priest.
No, see, but I'm not saying like you come together in marriage. It's essentially like.
But like, then what's the occasion then?
To just celebrate the love. It's like a formal like, and it's. This
but like,
is like
when do you decide the ceremony takes place? Like, when?
What do you mean?
Are you gonna at this point? Are you going to the courthouse and signing the papers?
No. So okay, so I mean, I guess it would be kind of. it would be more of like what's it called after the big party after you get married?
The reception.
Yeah, so it would almost be like that, where you just like, because I would want to get married, but I would just have like some of my friends like speak on like the love that I would share with the person, and then some of her friends speak on it, just like kind of like that's like it's just like a ceremonial thing, which means nothing.
I get what you're saying, but like how I just want to dive a little deeper here.
Yeah.
How would you go about inviting people to this? Like, tell me what the invitation would say.
Like, come join me and whoever I like. Come join Eric and Joe Bob. Why did I pick a guy's name? Come join
Susie.
Eric. Yeah, come join Eric and Susie as they celebrate their love. Like you've been there through thick and like you've seen them come together. Just come take a minute, like come celebrate their love.
Okay.
But they like it's not like it's getting rid of like the marriage part. It's just the reception of like you and like 2 or 3 other people speak on like essentially like a best man speech.
Okay.
Of just like talking about like, like I saw Eric when he first started going out, things like that.
So there's like gonna be food and
maybe maybe not, maybe just kind of like, or almost like the what's the first thing called, like the dinner,
the asshole who's getting married should know this. The like a day before, like the
like the what, like the thing for the day before,
yeah.
the practice dinner thing.
Yes, what the hell is a rehearsal?
Yeah,
the rehearsal.
Yeah, so essentially like that, of just like people who kind of speak on it, and then like maybe like obviously like family, some of my
so
close
it'd be
friends.
could be like a sit down meal.
Yeah, something like that. Have a few drinks, get drunk.
All right, so dude,
that's it.
I'm into it. I'm into it. It's just like totally unconventional.
Yeah. What about me dude, I'm wearing female pants right now. Female pants. What about me?
It's just so unconventional. People would you expect people to bring gifts? Like if they wanted to?
Yeah, if they want. I mean, I have to phrase this. I would expect, but I wouldn't expect. I mean, like if people want to bring gifts, that's fine. I don't care. I mean,
like it wouldn't be.
I mean, I'm assuming at that point we'd probably be living together. Like we don't really need anything.
I gotta tell you something, man. Like, I dig the whole idea. But like, truthfully, like finding a girl who's gonna want to go along with that is going to be difficult.
See, here's my thing though. I don't really know if I want to be with someone who wouldn't share that. I mean, like I said, marriage is something I'm a little bit more
like, not to shit on that, but
yeah,
like,
no,
I don't.
That's like my ideal. Like
I think it'd be like really difficult to find someone who would be down with that.
Yeah, and like that's like marriage is something I'm a little bit more like flexible on.
So,
I guess.
But would you get in that same scenario? Would you sign the papers to make it more convenient for insurance and stuff? Like, would you get legally married
like the same day?
Like around that time?
I don't know. I mean, I guess
like why not? Like why not?
Yeah, I don't know.
Come celebrate our marriage.
No.
But then like people are gonna be like, what's the celebration for?
I don't know. We love each other. We just want we want our close family and friends, just kind of to come together and really like
celebrate our love.
Yeah.
But I could be like, I'm just gonna pretend like well, I love Andrea. I'm not having a party.
But you are.
Well,
okay.
Pretend.
Yeah.
We're pretending.
I mean, I guess it's like a little bit more of like a more like longer commitment thing, but it just takes away like all of like the traditional stuff out of it. We're just like,
So are you guys getting married?
No, we're just we're together and
we're just celebrating love.
Yeah, we're committed to one another.
Yeah. Oh, so it's a commitment.
I mean, it would be after like, see, like putting myself in your shoes after like 7 years when you just know that you're gonna be together. But
at that point, why not just get married? Why not just sign the papers? Make it more convenient.
Well, I mean, who's to say that we don't already? I'm separating the idea of like celebrating someone, like your love and commitment to someone, from like the actual idea of getting married. And I'm very sure this is probably like a very big walk around of just not wanting to get married. But I mean,
it kind of is.
Like I just hold no value in the idea of marriage.
But you said you would sign the papers
legally. But like a marriage ceremony.
So you have no value in the
legal
marriage ceremony.
Isn't for like any of the ceremonial reasons. It's purely just for like benefits, like law benefits.
So what you're saying is you want a friends with benefits situation.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You get down on one knee. Will you be my friends with benefits?
No, I mean, because like at that point, like if I'm gonna legally marry someone, obviously it's like a commitment. And I mean, that's something that you definitely know, but it wouldn't be like, hey, will you marry me? I feel like at that point it'd be like, hey, we might as well just make it official in the eyes of the law.
I respect like your unconventionality, if that's a word, but you being so unconventional with this. But dude, from what you're describing, like you might as well, if you're at that point and you want to celebrate your love,
Right.
you want people to get together to celebrate their love with you, you're already okay with signing legal marriage papers. Why not just sign the legal marriage papers and then have your rehearsal dinner, your celebration dinner?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that
Like, at that point, it's not about the marriage papers at all.
yeah, I can get. It's like, all right,
You're putting more emphasis on the relationship.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
the love.
we sign the marriage papers, but like we don't, like we're not gonna have like a ceremony. We just want people to come together and like celebrate our love.
Yeah, dude, I think plenty
like
of people do
more
that,
of like
actually.
more of like a commitment thing. Like we're committing ourselves to one another like that. Because to me, like a marriage and like the whole like party after, it's a big party. Like it's just so completely unnecessary.
Well, what's wrong with big parties?
And it's expensive, man. I'd rather save all of that money and
You get a lot of money from the wedding.
wait till you see what I give you.
It's gonna be like a 6-pack of kombucha.
Now it's like a 6-pack of Natty Light.
But no, that's the thing, is it's not necessarily always really expensive.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's wrong with having a big party with everyone you care about? It's basically what you want to do, except
I don't want a big party.
on a smaller scale. Or the marriage would be the wedding would be on a bigger scale.
But I mean, yeah, I don't see the point of
There's
that.
dancing, there's music, there's food.
Oh, see, I mean, I just want like a close dinner with like some of my friends, some of her friends, the family.
Well, that's what I want too. But I'm inviting all of my friends, and I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying like it's essentially the same thing. The main difference is that a religious figure is not heading yours.
And here's what it is also, is that I don't think that
It's not a ceremony.
and I think this is more focused not so much on like the unity. This is more on like kind of just people speaking on like, I don't know, like how like a best man speech is at the rehearsal dinner, like how it's more focused on like the actual coming. I don't know. I can't think of, because I keep saying love, and I just feel like it's like when you say the word over and over again, it like loses its meaning. But it's like it's more so speaking on like how happy you make each other, instead of just like the prominence of like the religious figure, like you're coming together as one. It's like, they enjoy each other,
I'm
they
down
really
with
love each
that.
other. It's
Dude,
something like that.
I think like at least I can speak on my behalf. Like I have the same intentions going into mine. I just like
And then you caved.
No, I just also put emphasis on
We're good. 45.
religion. I also just put emphasis on religion. So like those two things, I don't see like the problem in incorporating that in there.
Yeah, it does come down to the fact that I put zero value in like religion.
Yeah, and I think your idea is like not crazy. I bet you plenty of people do that. If you were to tie in like the legal marriage part,
Yeah.
and then having a little celebration
Yeah.
of like maybe, I don't know, like 50 people or whatever.
You're shooting high.
much?
I guess
Well, think about it, dude. Your dad, you'd probably want like your uncles, maybe. I don't know how close you are. Like at least your close friends.
It probably would be around like 50 to 75.
Yeah.
But I mean, not like, that sounds like a big number, but just like
Yeah.
I would have just like the bare bones of people who I actually wanted there.
For sure.
Like my mom, like I don't know, my mom was talking about me getting married, and like, or she went to a wedding, and I'm like, why did we get invited? And she was like, oh well, we would invite them to yours. I'm like, no, I wouldn't. Like I don't want
Dude,
a lot
I'll
of people.
tell you what, man. I'm seeing right now. We're gonna have like 300 plus people, and plenty of them are gonna be people I don't know. But
I feel like, that's also it. It's like, well, like people get offended if they don't get like invited to a wedding.
yeah,
But
so
it's
you're
like,
putting that like awkward
and it's like,
social aspect.
I mean, it's different because it was like it was like my parents' friends, but I think like we were invited to someone who like, it was like my mom's friend's like daughter or something like that. I'm like, I don't know, like you don't know them, like you've met them maybe like once, and you're gonna be invited to the wedding just because you're friends with their mom. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Some people might just do it because they want a little more money.
And like that's where I'm saying like it's at that point it's almost not about, it's not just a big party. And if you want to have a big party, have a big party.
I get that.
I don't know, it's just a whole strange thing. And it gets weird. I don't know, like instead of having like I would much rather have like you or like one of her friends like officiate it, who can speak more accurately onto like the love shared and like the funny stories and all that stuff, instead of just like some priest who you may or may not know.
I get that.
Just like a very much more personal thing.
No, I get that. Well, first step, Chez, is find a girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's single.
I'm doing great on this one so far.
After this whole podcast of just shitting on marriage and like.
Hey, maybe,
he's single,
putting out
ladies.
the unconventional ideas, someone can be like, hey, that really makes sense.
Oh my god, this is exactly what I was talking about.
I've actually met more people who are like open to the idea of just not getting married. Like, I don't see the point of it.
Yeah, man.
So I definitely think it's definitely a minority, but I think it's a pretty...
I think it's decently sized. I bet you it would be like, if I had to guess, like 85-15. 85% of people...
Yeah, I would say that, like 85, 15, 90, 10, something like that.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Mm-hmm. It's so weird, like, speaking to, like, very conventional people about it. Like, one of my friends, I was talking to her about it, and she was like, you don't want to get married? I'm like, no. And then she was like, she wasn't yelling at me, but she was so, like...
Just blown away.
She was like, wait, but, like, wouldn't you... It's like, you just want to be single your whole life? I'm like, I never said that. Mm-hmm. I just don't see the point in it.
I mean, I think you laid out your ideas perfectly. You spoke as a good advocate for the non-marriage group of America.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's plenty of people who just don't get married, and it doesn't make them worse people. I mean, it's definitely, like, something, like, it's a weird thing.
It's unconventional.
Yeah, unconventional. That's what I'll say, not weird.
There's nothing wrong with being unconventional.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was good.
All right, guys, episode 7
Yep.
of some Me Time podcast. I hope you enjoyed. If you feel like commenting or just chiming in on the conversation, please feel free to do so in the comments. We love you guys. Until next time.
Adios.